The light is changing. It is not yet dark, but the harsh brightness of the afternoon has finally surrendered. The air, which has held the heat of the sun against the stone floor of the forum all day, is beginning to loosen its grip. There is a shift in the atmosphere. It is the very beginning of the evening. In the center of the open space stands the sundial. It is a simple object carved from pale stone, weathered by years of exposure to the sky. There is a bronze needle, the gnomon, standing perfectly upright. For hours, this needle has cast a sharp, dark shadow against the marked lines of the stone face. But now, the shadow is stretching. It is becoming longer and softer at the edges. If you were to stand here and watch the shadow, you would not see it move. The movement is too slow for the human eye to catch. It is a gradual, imperceptible slide. Time is passing, but it is not rushing. There is no hurry here. There is nowhere else you need to be. The shadow simply exists, connecting the stone to the sun, anchoring the moment in a long, unbroken silence. You do not need to remember the shape of the dial. You do not need to know what hour it marks. These details are unimportant. They can drift away, just as the light is drifting away from the tops of the columns surrounding the square. Let your mind relax. Let your focus soften, just like the edges of the shadows on the ground. The ground beneath the sundial is paved with travertine. These are large, rectangular slabs of stone. They are smooth in places where thousands of sandals have walked over the centuries, and pitted in others where the rain has settled. At this hour, the stones are still warm to the touch. They hold a gentle, radiating warmth that rises up, invisible and steady. It is a comforting sensation, this release of the day's energy. A few feet away from the sundial, a small cloud of dust hangs in the air, suspended in a beam of amber light. It moves slowly, swirling in the stillness. There is no wind to push it. It simply floats, turning slowly golden specks against the darkening background of a temple wall. Watching the dust is easy. It requires no effort. It rises and falls, in a rhythm that matches the slow intake of a breath. The noise of the city is changing, too. The sharp sounds of the morning, the iron wheels of carts, the shouting of merchants, the hammering of metal have all ceased. The work of the day is done. Now the sounds are distant and muffled. Far away, perhaps 3 streets over, a wooden shutter is closed against a stone window frame. It makes a dull, hollow thud. Then silence returns. There is a sense of heaviness in the air, but it is a pleasant heaviness. It is the weight of rest. The forum, usually the heart of activity, is emptying out. A single figure walks across the far end of the plaza. He is wearing a simple tunic of undyed wool, the color of oatmeal. He walks slowly. His sandals make a soft, rhythmic scuffing sound against the pavement. Scuff, scuff, scuff. He is not in a hurry. He does not look left or right. He is simply going home. As he disappears behind a row of columns, the stillness deepens. The sun has dipped just below the roof of the Basilica Julia. The direct light is gone, replaced by a soft, glowing twilight. The sky is losing its blue and turning a pale, washed-out violet. It is a color that feels quiet. It is a color that invites sleep. Near the base of a column, a stray dog lies down. It circles once, twice, and then lowers itself onto the cool earth between the stones. It rests its head on its paws. It lets out a long sigh, its ribs expanding and contracting slowly. The dog is not waiting for anything. It is simply being. It closes its eyes. You can imagine that heaviness, the feeling of letting the body sink into the ground, supported and safe. The sundial is harder to read now. The contrast between the stone and the shadow is fading. The lines are becoming blurry. The day is losing its definition. This is the time when the boundaries of the world become less rigid. The sharp edges of buildings seem to blend into the sky. The difference between near and far becomes less distinct. It is easier to stop looking. It is easier to just listen. Listen to the sound of the fountain near the edge of the square. It is a small, modest fountain fed by a lead pipe that brings water from the hills. The water spills over the edge of a stone basin. It does not splash violently, it trickles. It is a continuous, steady murmur. The sound is consistent. It does not change pitch. It is a loop of white noise flowing and flowing. Burble, flow, trickle. It sounds like rain, but softer. It sounds like time melting. There is nothing to worry about in this Roman twilight. The empire is at peace. The borders are quiet. The legions are in their barracks. Here, in the center of the world, the only thing happening is the arrival of the night. There are no decisions to be made, no messages to send. The tablets are put away. The stylus is laid down. The scrolls are rolled up and placed in their wooden cubbies. Look back at the pavement. In the fading light, you can see the texture of the stone more clearly. There are tiny veins of gray running through the white travertine. There are small pebbles caught in the cracks between the slabs. A small beetle, its shell dark and shiny, crawls slowly across the width of one stone. It moves with deliberate slowness. It stops. It waits. It moves again. It is a journey of inches taking place in a world that has slowed down to a halt. The air is cooling. If you were there, you would feel the slight drop in temperature on your skin. It is refreshing, like the cool side of a pillow. It settles over the shoulders, over the eyelids. The heat of the day is a memory. The cool of the night is a promise. Above the temple of Castor and Pollux, the first star appears. It is faint, barely visible against the twilight. It flickers weakly. It is not demanding attention. It is just a tiny pinprick of light in the vast, deepening dome of the sky. As the sky darkens further, the star will become brighter, but for now, it is just a suggestion of light. A guard stands near the steps of the Senate House. He is leaning against his spear. He is not standing at attention. He is relaxed. His helmet is tucked under his arm. He is looking at the ground, lost in his own thoughts. He is not scanning for danger because there is no danger. He is just waiting for his shift to end, or perhaps he is not waiting for anything at all. He is as still as the statues on the roofline. His metal breastplate reflects the dull gray light of the dusk. He does not move. The shadows in the corners of the forum are growing deeper. They are pooling like water, filling the spaces between the columns, rising up the walls. The darkness is gentle. It hides the dirt and the cracks. It smooths everything out. It wraps the city in a blanket of gray velvet. You do not need to follow the layout of the buildings. It does not matter which building is the treasury and which is the court. They are just shapes now. Large, silent blocks of stone. They have stood there for 100 years and they will stand there for 100 more. They do not need your attention. They are heavy, solid, and asleep. The smell of the evening is subtle. It is the smell of cooling dust, of dry stone, and a faint hint of wood smoke from a distant hearth. Someone somewhere has lit a small fire to boil water or warm a room. The smoke rises, invisible in the dark, adding a dry, earthy scent to the air. It is a domestic smell, a smell of safety and enclosure. The sundial is almost swallowed by the shadow now. The gnomon is just a silhouette. The lines of the hours are gone. Time has officially stopped being measured. The rigid counting of minutes is over. Now there is only the flow of the night. The urgency of the sun is gone. Imagine the texture of the marble column nearest to you. It is cool and smooth, polished to a glass-like finish. But if you run your hand down to the base, it becomes rougher, etched by the wind. It feels solid, unmoving. Resting your hand against it would feel steadying. It is a support that does not waver. The birds are settling down. Earlier there were pigeons cooing in the eaves of the basilica, strutting along the roof tiles. Now they are silent. They have tucked their heads under their wings. They are small, warm shapes huddled together in the darkness of the rafters. The sky belongs to the bats now, small shadows that flit silently overhead, catching the insects that dance in the cooling air. Their movement is soundless. Everything is slowing down. The heartbeat of the city is dropping to a resting pace. The rhythm is long and slow. Breathe in the quiet, breathe out the day. The space between the buildings seems to expand in the dark. The forum feels larger, more cavernous. It is a hall of shadows, a place of absolute neutrality. History is not being made here tonight. Nothing is being written down. It is just a pause, a long, empty pause between one day and the next. If you listen very closely, underneath the sound of the fountain, you might hear the wind moving through the leaves of the sacred fig tree near the center of the plaza. It is a dry rustle. S-H-H-H. S-H-H-H. The leaves brush against each other, leather on leather. It is a whisper that says nothing. It just repeats the sound of the air moving over and over again. The light has now shifted from violet to a deep indigo. The details of the far end of the forum are lost. You can no longer see the man who was walking home. He is gone. You can no longer see the beetle on the stone. It is hidden. There is only the outline of the great roofs against the stars, which are multiplying one by one. The world is narrowing down. It is no longer a sprawling empire. It is just this square, this stone, this moment of cool air and silence. There is no need to think about what lies beyond the shadows. The darkness is a wall that keeps the world out. You are safe inside the quiet. The bronze of the sundial's needle is cold now. The heat is gone entirely. The stone has accepted the night. The transition is complete. The day is over. The time for doing is finished. The time for resting has begun. The silence is thick. It is not an empty silence, but a heavy, comforting substance that fills the ears and slows the mind. It is the sound of peace. It is the sound of a city sleeping under the protection of the night. The forum waits. The stones wait. The stars wait. And in this waiting there is a deep, profound rest. The blue of the twilight has deepened into the true black of night. The sky above the Roman Forum is no longer a dome of color. It is a void, vast and endless, punctuated only by the steady, unblinking eyes of the stars. The transition is complete. The day has been fully exhaled. Now the city breathes in the cool, still air of the night. In a small alcove near the Arch of Augustus, a point of light appears. It is not a star, it is a flame. A public slave whose job it is to tend to the porticos is lighting an oil lamp. The process is slow and practiced. There is no rush in his movements. He holds a taper to the wick of a clay lamp that sits on a small stone shelf. Watch the flame catch. At first, it is just a tiny blue spark struggling against the dark. Then it finds the oil. It grows. It turns into a teardrop of orange light. It is a small, fragile thing, this flame. It flickers once as the air settles around it, and then it steadies itself. It pushes back the darkness, but only a few feet. It creates a small, warm circle of visibility in an ocean of shadow. The lamp is simple. It is made of terracotta, the color of dried earth. It has no decorations, no intricate carvings of gods or heroes. It is a functional object. The oil inside is low-grade olive oil, thick and green. It smells faintly savory as it burns, a scent that mixes with the cool stone air. The smell is familiar. It is the scent of a Roman night. The slave moves to the next lamp 5 paces away. Shuffle, pause, light. He repeats the motion. He does not look around. He has done this 1,000 times. His mind is quiet. He is not thinking about the Senate or the grain shipment or the games. He is only thinking about the wick and the flame. One by one, small islands of amber light appear along the corridor. They do not illuminate the whole forum. They only serve to show how deep the darkness really is. You can rest your eyes on these lights. They are not bright enough to hurt. They are soft, glowing orbs. They sway gently when a draft moves through the columns. The shadows they cast are long and stretched out, moving rhythmically on the wall behind them, forward and back, a hypnotic dance of gray and black. The forum floor is now a patchwork of deep shadows and faint illumination. The large basalt paving stones of the Via Sacra, the sacred road that cuts through the square, look different at night. In the day, they are gray and dusty. Under the starlight and the lamp glow, they look almost like water. They shine with a dull polish. They look slippery and cool. Imagine walking on those stones now. The crowds are gone. There is no one to bump into. There is no one to avoid. You could walk down the center of the road, your arms outstretched, touching nothing but the air. The space belongs to the silence. Far off towards the river, a dog barks. It is a single muffled sound. Woof. Then silence. Then, 10 seconds later, another bark. Woof. It is not an angry bark. It is just a dog announcing its presence to the empty street. It is a lonely sound, but not a sad one. It is just a notification that life exists somewhere else in the dark. Near the temple of Saturn, the wind shifts. It blows from the north tonight, coming down from the distant hills. It carries no moisture. It is dry and crisp. It moves through the high columns of the temple porch. Whoosh, whoosh. It sounds like a large piece of fabric being shaken out in slow motion. The wind wraps around the stone fluting of the columns, cooling them further. If you were standing there, you would pull your cloak tighter. You would feel the wool scratch gently against your neck. You would feel the warmth of your own body trapped against your skin, a cozy contrast to the chill of the air. It is the kind of cold that makes you want to curl up, to find a corner, to close your eyes. Let's look at the rostra, the great speaking platform. During the day, this is the loudest place in the world. Politicians shout here. Crowds cheer and jeer. Now, it is a flat, empty stage. The bronze prows of the captured ships that decorate the front are just dull metal shapes in the dark. They are cold to the touch. The metal has lost all its heat. There is no voice here, no speeches, no rhetoric. The arguments of the day have evaporated. The words have dissolved into the air. Nothing that was said today matters right now. The platform is just stone and metal resting under the stars. It is taking a break from history. A patrol of the vigils, the night watch, turns a corner at the far end of the square. There are 3 of them. They are not marching in formation. They are walking casually. They carry lanterns made of horn and wood. The light from their lanterns is dim and yellow, diffusing softly through the thin layers of horn. Listen to their equipment. They carry buckets made of rope and leather coated with pitch to hold water. The buckets bump against their legs. Thud, thud. They carry axes in their belts. The metal handles clink softly against the buckles of their armor. Clink, clink. It is a rhythmic, metallic lullaby. They are not talking, they are just walking their beat. They are checking for fires. They are checking for unlocked doors, but mostly they are just walking. Their sandals have hobnails, iron studs on the soles for grip. The sound of hobnails on stone is distinct. Crunch-click, crunch-click. It echoes slightly off the facade of the curia. The sound is reassuring. It means someone is awake so you don't have to be. Someone is watching the city. The routine is holding. The structure of the empire is intact. You can let go. You can let the vigils do the worrying. They pass the temple of Julius Caesar and disappear behind the arch. The sound of their footsteps fades gradually. First, you stop hearing the click of the metal. Then, you stop hearing the thud of the buckets. Finally, the silence returns, filling the space they left behind like water filling a hole. Now focus on a single detail. Near the steps of the basilica, there is a small puddle of water left from a cleaning earlier in the day. It is small, perhaps the size of a hand. The water is perfectly still. Reflecting in the center of the puddle is the image of the moon. The moon is a crescent tonight, a sliver of silver. In the puddle it is perfect, unmoving. But then a tiny insect lands on the water, ripples spread out, the moon wobbles, the image distorts, stretching and shaking. Slowly, very slowly, the ripples fade. The water smooths out again. The moon returns to stillness. It takes time. There is no rush to fix the image. Gravity does the work. Inside the portico of the Basilica Julia, it is darker than outside. The roof blocks the starlight. Here the shadows are absolute. It is a cave of marble. If you were to walk in there, your footsteps would echo loudly. Tap, tap, tap. The sound would bounce between the floor and the high vaulted ceiling. But there is no one walking there. The space is filled only with dry, still air. There are rows of game boards scratched into the floor of the portico. During the day, men sit here playing dice, gambling, shouting. Now the scratched lines of the boards are invisible in the dark. The dice are in pockets or pouches, miles away. The game is paused. The luck has run out for the day. The outcome doesn't matter anymore. The smell of the city changes as the night deepens. The smell of cooking fires has mostly gone. Now there is a scent of damp mortar and old timber. It is the smell of the buildings themselves. The city is sweating out the day. It is an earthy, mineral smell. It is grounding. High above, on the Capitoline hill that overlooks the Forum, a torch burns in front of a temple. It is too far away to see the flame clearly. It is just a flickering orange dot like a low-hanging star. It pulses. Bright, then dim. Bright, then dim. It signals that the priests are there, keeping the sacred fires alive. You do not need to tend the fire. It is being taken care of. The tension in the air is gone. The pressure to be productive is gone. The Roman world is a world of order and schedules, but the night is the exception. The night is unregulated. The night is formless. A cat moves along the top of a wall. It is a silhouette black against the dark blue sky. It moves with fluid grace, placing each paw silently. It stops to groom itself. It licks a paw, passing it over its ear. It does this again and again. The motion is repetitive and soothing. The cat is comfortable. It is safe on its high perch. It watches the empty square with indifferent eyes. Down on the ground, near the base of a statue, some dry leaves have gathered. A sudden, gentle gust of wind catches them. They scrape across the stone. Scritch, scritch. They tumble over each other, rolling a few feet before stopping against a step. The movement is light and dry. It is the sound of autumn, or perhaps just a dry season. It is a whisper of nature in the city of stone. The sundial, which we watched earlier, is now completely invisible. If you reached out to touch it, the stone would feel cold. It has released all the heat it stored from the sun. It is dormant. It waits for the dawn, which is hours and hours away. There is no time now. There is only the sequence of moments. Imagine the heavy wooden doors of the shops that line the back of the Forum. They are closed and barred from the inside with thick beams of timber. They feel solid, impenetrable. Behind them, goods are stored in the dark, rolls of silk, jars of spices, stacks of papyrus. They sit there in the pitch black, safe and unseen. No one is looking at them. No one is buying them. They are just objects in the dark, resting. The sensation of the night is heavy. It feels like a thick blanket has been laid over the rooftops. The noise of the world is dampened. Even your own thoughts seem to move slower here. The frantic pace of the mind slows down to match the pace of the drifting dust. In the house of the Vestals, near the temple, a window is open. A faint, soft light glows from within, perhaps a single candle. You cannot see inside. You can only see the square of soft yellow light against the dark brickwork. It looks warm. It looks like a place of quiet study or prayer. It is a stationary point of light in a shifting world. The air is getting colder. The dew is beginning to form. If you were to touch the iron railing of a gate, your finger would come away wet. The moisture is settling on everything, on the statues, on the stones, on the leaves. It is a slow, silent process. The world is being washed by the night. Far away, the river Tiber flows. You cannot see it from here, but you can feel its presence. A massive body of water moving steadily towards the sea. It never stops. It is dark and heavy, sliding past the stone embankments. The sound of the river is too far away to hear, but the knowledge of it is soothing. A constant, powerful flow that carries everything away. The city is a shell. The life has retreated indoors. What remains is the structure, the skeleton of the empire. It is beautiful in its emptiness. It is peaceful in its abandonment. There is nothing left to see here. The details are lost to the shadows. The columns merge with the walls. The statues merge with the sky. The visual world is turning off. It is time to stop looking. It is time to let the eyes close. The flame in the oil lamp we watched earlier is burning lower now. The oil is being consumed. The flame is smaller, more orange. It struggles a little more against the dark. It is a sleepy flame. It bobs and weaves, casting long, tired shadows that stretch out across the floor. Everything is settling, the dust has landed. The wind has died down, the dogs have stopped barking. The only sound left is the sound of your own breathing, slow, steady, in and out. The Roman Forum waits in the dark. It has waited like this for centuries. It will wait for you. There is no hurry. There is only the night. The night has now settled into its deepest phase. This is the middle watch, the time when the city is most vulnerable, most open, and most asleep. The initial cooling of the evening is over. Now, a steady, pervasive chill has taken hold of the stones. The heat of the sun is a distant memory, completely erased from the pavement. The air is thick with moisture. A heavy dew is beginning to fall. It is not rain. It is too silent for that. It is a slow, invisible accumulation of water. If you were to run your finger along the marble railing of the rostra now, it would come away wet and cold. The moisture clings to the stone. It turns the matte surfaces into glossy, reflective mirrors. Look at the bronze statues that stand along the roofline of the Basilica Emilia. They are warriors and gods, frozen in mid-gesture, but tonight they are just metal shapes. The dew has settled on their shoulders, on their bronze helmets. Under the moonlight, the wet metal shines with a dull, liquid light. A single drop of water forms on the edge of a bronze shield. It grows heavy. It holds there for a long time, fighting gravity. Then finally it falls, plip. It hits the stone roof below. The sound is tiny. It is lost instantly in the vastness of the square. The silence is no longer just an absence of noise. It feels like a physical weight. It presses down on the rooftops, fills the alleyways, and settles into the cracks between the paving stones. It is a heavy, comfortable blanket. The city is swaddled in it. Near the temple of Vesta, the round temple that houses the sacred fire, the air smells of wood smoke. But it is a faint smell, filtered through the damp night air. The fire inside is burning, but you cannot see the flames from here. You can only see the smoke rising from the vent in the roof. The smoke is white against the black sky. It rises in a straight line. There is no wind to scatter it now. It climbs up and up, dissolving slowly into the darkness. It is a pillar of breath from the sleeping city. Let your attention drift to the columns of the temple of Castor and Pollux. 3 massive columns stand together, supporting a fragment of stone architrave. They are giants. In the dark, they look impossibly high. They loom over the empty street. Their fluted sides are vertical rivers of shadow. The marble of these columns is chipped and weathered near the base. If you were to lean against one, you would feel the roughness of the stone against your back. You would feel the immense solidity of it. This stone was cut from a mountain, hauled across the sea, and raised up by ropes and pulleys long ago. Now it just stands. It does not get tired. It does not need to sleep. It supports the weight above it with infinite patience. At the foot of the columns on the steps of the temple, a beggar is sleeping. He is wrapped in layers of rough gray wool. He is just a bundle of fabric in the shadows. He does not move. His breathing is shallow and rhythmic. He has found a corner where the wind does not reach. He is part of the architecture now. He is as still as the stone he rests upon. There is no difference here between the statue and the man. Both are at rest. The moon has moved. If you were marking its position against the edge of the Senate House roof, you would see that it has shifted to the right. The angle of the shadows has changed. The shadows that were stretching towards the east are now slightly skewed. The geometry of the night is constantly, slowly evolving. A small bat swoops down from the eaves of the curia. It is a flicker of movement, quick and erratic. It dives into the open space of the forum, circles a lamp post, and then shoots back up into the darkness. It makes no sound that human ears can hear. It is just a visual ripple in the stillness. A tiny interruption that makes the returning calm feel even deeper. Walk in your mind over to the wooden stalls near the market edge. These are simple structures, wooden frames covered with canvas or timber planks. At night, they look skeletal. The wood is old and dry. You can see the grain of the wood in the moonlight. The knots, the cracks, the splinters. Run your hand over the wood. It is rough. It feels organic compared to the cold marble. It holds a different kind of temperature, not warm but not freezing like the stone. It smells of sawdust and age. These stalls are empty now. The jars of wine, the baskets of fruit, the stacks of pottery, everything has been packed away. The shelves are bare. The emptiness is soothing. There is no clutter, no visual noise. Just the clean lines of empty shelves waiting for the morning. On the ground near one of the stalls, there is a piece of broken pottery, a shard of a clay jar. It lies curved side up. It catches a sliver of moonlight. It is a useless object now, discarded and forgotten. But in the quiet of the night, even this broken piece of clay seems significant. It rests on the dirt. It belongs there. It is not going anywhere. The sound of the fountain we heard earlier is still there. It has not changed, but in the deep quiet it seems louder. The trickle of water sounds like a consistent whisper. Hush, hush, hush. It is the pulse of the forum. Water moving through lead pipes, flowing over stone, returning to the earth. It is a cycle that does not care about the time of day. Imagine the water in the basin. It is black and glossy. If you looked into it, you would see nothing but your own dark reflection and the stars behind you. The water is cold, uninviting. It is water for looking at, not for touching. A patrol of the urban cohort walks past the far end of the Via Sacra. They are further away than the last patrol. You can barely hear them. Their footsteps are just a faint rhythm in the distance. Thump, thump, thump. They are like ghosts passing through the scenery. They do not look in your direction. They continue on, fading into the maze of streets that lead up the Palatine Hill. The Palatine Hill itself looms above the forum. It is a dark mass, a cliff of shadow. On top, the palaces of the emperors are silent. There are lights up there, faint yellow windows high in the sky, but they are too far away to matter. The power and the politics are asleep. The emperor is just a man sleeping in a bed. The decrees and the laws are just words on wax tablets, shut away in boxes. Here, on the ground level, everything is equal. The darkness treats the marble of the temple and the dirt of the street exactly the same. It hides them both. There is a sense of suspended time. It feels as if the sun might never come back, and that is a peaceful thought. To stay here in this cool, blue-black silence forever, to not have to wake up, to not have to start again, just to exist in this long, stretching moment of pause. Nearby, a large wooden door to a warehouse has settled on its hinges. It lets out a single, low creak, irk. The sound is dry and wooden. It is the building adjusting itself to the cooling temperature. The wood contracts. The metal nails shift slightly. Then silence returns. The building is comfortable. Look at the sky again. The stars are crisp and sharp. There are no clouds now. The haze has gone. The constellations are clear diagrams drawn in light. You can trace the lines between them. Triangle, square. Line, they turn overhead, a giant wheel that takes a lifetime to rotate. Watching them is dizzying if you look too long. It is better to look at the ground. The ground is solid. The travertine slabs are anchored deep in the earth. They are not moving. They are the foundation. Focus on the cracks between the stones. Some are filled with moss. Tiny, soft cushions of green that look black in the dark. The moss is soft to the touch. It drinks the dew. It lives quietly in the shadow of the great monuments. A stray dog, perhaps the same one from earlier or perhaps another, trots silently across the square. It stops at the base of a column. It sniffs the stone. Sniff, sniff. It is checking for scents of other dogs or perhaps food. It finds nothing. It moves on. Its claws click softly. It is a solitary creature minding its own business. It does not bark. It respects the quiet. The shadows cast by the columns are very long now. They stretch across the entire width of the open space, climbing up the steps on the other side. The forum is a chessboard of light and dark. You can hide in the dark stripes. You can disappear. The air is cleaner now than it was at dusk. The dust has fully settled. The smells of the city have been washed away by the dew. It smells only of cold air and stone. It is a pure, neutral scent. Breathing it in feels cleansing. It cools the back of the throat. Imagine sitting on the steps of the Basilica Julia. The stone is cold through your clothes, but you don't mind. You lean back against a pillar. You look out over the empty square. There is no one to judge you. No one to ask you questions. You are alone in the center of the world. To your left, a small bronze statue of a victory goddess stands on a pedestal. She holds a wreath. Her wings are spread. She has been frozen in that moment of triumph for decades. Her bronze face is calm. She stares blankly into the night. She does not celebrate anymore. She just stands. The victory is old news. The excitement has faded. Now she is just part of the furniture of the night. The stillness is so complete that you can hear the blood rushing in your own ears. A low, humming sound. It is the sound of your own life, quiet and steady. There is a gentle monotony to this place. Nothing changes quickly. The erosion of the stone takes 1,000 years. The movement of the stars takes all night. The fading of the lamp oil takes hours. You are in a place of slow things. The flame in the lamp near the arch is flickering more now. It is running low on fuel. It pulses, dim, bright, dim, bright. It is a slow, rhythmic pulse like a slow heartbeat. It is mesmerizing to watch. You can synchronize your breathing to it. Breathe in when it brightens. Breathe out when it dims. In, out. The light is struggling, but it is not anxious. It is just doing what fire does. Eventually, it will go out, and that will be fine. The darkness is waiting to take its place. Everything is heavy. The eyelids feel heavy. The limbs feel heavy. The air itself feels heavy. It is gravity pulling everything down towards the center of the earth. It is a gentle pull. It says, lie down, rest, stop. The Roman Forum is a stone garden of sleep. The statues are sleeping. The columns are sleeping. The history is sleeping. You are just another shadow among the shadows, quiet, still, at peace. The oil lamp that we watched earlier, the one that was flickering in the alcove near the arch, has finally given up. It happened a moment ago, between one breath and the next. There was no drama in it. The small orange flame simply detached itself from the wick, hovered for a fraction of a second as a tiny ghost of light, and then vanished. Now there is a thin trail of gray smoke rising from the hot clay nozzle of the lamp. It rises in a perfect twisting ribbon. In the dark, you cannot see the smoke, but you can smell it. It is the sharp, acrid scent of extinguished wick. It hangs in the alcove, trapped by the stone walls. It is the smell of an ending. The light is gone. The shadows that danced on the wall have stopped their movement. They have merged into one solid, uniform block of black. The darkness in that corner is now absolute. It is a restful darkness. It hides everything. If there are cracks in the wall, they are gone. If there is dust on the shelf, it is invisible. The absence of light brings a kind of perfection to the space. Nothing can be seen, so nothing can be wrong. Move your attention slowly away from the dark corner back out into the open square. The moon is higher now. It has climbed the ladder of the sky, rung by invisible rung. But the light has changed. A layer of high, thin clouds is drifting in from the west. These are not storm clouds. They are just a veil, a thin sheet of vapor. As the clouds pass over the moon, the light in the Forum dims. It turns from a sharp, silver clarity to a soft, diffused gray. The edges of the shadows become even blurrier. The contrast lowers. The world looks like a charcoal drawing that has been smudged with a thumb. It is easier on the eyes. You do not need to squint. You hardly need to focus at all. Look at the bronze doors of the Curia Julia, the Senate House. These are massive doors, tall and imposing. They are made of heavy, solid bronze. In the daylight, they gleam green and gold. Now, under the clouded moon, they look black. They look like a wall of iron. The moisture in the air has settled heavily on the metal. The doors are sweating. If you were to press your palm against the bronze, it would be freezing wet. The cold would seep instantly into your skin, but you are not touching them. You are just looking at the surface. There is a single droplet of water sliding down the face of the right-hand door. It moves inch by inch. It traces a path through the patina of the metal. It encounters a rivet, flows around it, and continues down. It takes a long time for the droplet to reach the bottom. Watch it slide. There is no friction. There is no sound, just a tiny movement of water on metal. When it finally reaches the stone threshold, it stops. It pools there. The journey is over. Turn your gaze to the steps of the Temple of Saturn. There are many steps rising up steeply to the high podium. They are made of travertine bleached white by centuries of sun, now gray in the night. The steps are empty. There is no procession, no priests climbing up, no senators standing in groups. Focus on the third step from the bottom. There is a small indentation in the stone, worn away by millions of footsteps over hundreds of years. It is a smooth, shallow bowl carved by human movement. Tonight, it holds a small amount of dew. It is a tiny lake in a landscape of stone. A dry leaf carried by a breath of wind from the Capitoline hill lands on the steps. Skitter, tap. It lands 2 steps above the tiny lake. It pauses. Then a second breath of wind pushes it. Scrape. It tumbles down 1 step. It waits. The wind pushes again. It tumbles into the small puddle on the 3rd step. It lands on the water. It does not sink. It floats there, a small brown boat on a dark sea. It rotates slowly clockwise once, twice. Then it stops. The wind dies down again. The leaf is at rest. The silence of the forum is now interrupted by a new sound, very faint and very distant. It is the sound of a cart moving on the other side of the city. Night deliveries are allowed in Rome when the day traffic is banned. But this cart is miles away. The sound is just a low, rhythmic rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. It is so quiet that you might be imagining it. It sounds like thunder underground. It does not get closer. It stays at the edge of hearing. It is a reminder that the city is vast, that there are layers of life happening far away that do not concern you. You are here in the quiet center. The cart fades away. The silence rushes back in to fill the space. Near the rostra, the speaking platform, there is a marble balustrade. The carving on the marble depicts animals, a pig, a sheep, a bull. These represent the sacrifice. In the dark, you cannot see the details of the carvings. You can only see the relief, the bumps and hollows of the stone. The eye of the stone bull is a dark pit. The flank of the stone sheep is a smooth curve. They are frozen in stone, waiting. They have been waiting for generations. They do not get impatient. They are cool, hard, and permanent. The air is colder now. The temperature has dropped another degree. It is the hour of the wolf, the time between the middle of the night and the approach of dawn. But dawn is still far, far away. There is no hint of light in the east. The sky is uniformly dark. If you breathe in deeply through your nose, the air feels sharp. It chills the nostrils. It wakes the senses slightly, only to lull them back to sleep with its purity. There is no dust in the air now. The dew has pulled it all down to the ground. The air is clear. It is like breathing cold water. Let's look at the pavement again. The Via Sacra. The stones are uneven. Some are higher than others. In the dark, these uneven edges create tiny ridges of shadow. The road looks like a textured quilt. Between 2 of the large paving stones, a small weed has managed to grow. It is a resilient thing, small and green with jagged leaves. It grows in the dirt packed between the basalt blocks. Tonight, the weed is heavy with dew. The leaves are bowed down by the weight of the water. It looks tired. It is sleeping. A small beetle moves near the weed. It is black and shiny. It moves with a jerky, mechanical rhythm. Step, stop, step, stop. It climbs over the edge of a paving stone. It navigates the valley between the blocks. It touches the base of the weed with its antennae. It investigates. It decides there is nothing there. It turns around. It goes back the way it came. Its world is very small, just the space between two stones. The expanse of the forum feels enormous in this light. Without people to provide scale, the buildings look like mountains. The columns of the temple of Vespasian look like trees in a stone forest. They hold up the sky. Imagine the weight of the roof of the Basilica Julia. Tons of timber, tiles, and lead. All that weight pressing down on the arches press down on the pillars press down on the foundations press down on the earth. Everything is locked in a permanent embrace of gravity. The tension holds it all together. It is a static, balanced force. You can feel the stability of it. The building is not going to fall. It is safe. In the portico of the basilica, the shadows are impenetrable. It is a cave. If you were to walk into that darkness, you would disappear completely. But we stay outside in the gray light of the clouded moon. There is a wooden bench near the entrance of a shop. It is old wood, gray and splintered. It has been polished smooth by people sitting on it for years. Now it is empty. It looks lonely but peaceful, a place to wait. If you sat on that bench, you would see the whole forum stretched out before you. You would see the rows of columns marching into the dark. You would see the outline of the Palatine Hill against the stars. You would sit there and you would do nothing. You would just breathe. There is a sense that the city has stopped breathing. The rhythm has slowed to a halt. This is the dead of night, the pause at the bottom of the exhale. A cat, perhaps the same silhouette we saw earlier, is now asleep. It is curled into a tight ball on the warm side of a brick wall near a baker's oven that still holds a faint trace of heat from the day. The cat is deeply asleep. Its ears twitch once in a dream. It is oblivious to the empire around it. It has found the warmest spot in the city, and it is content. The clouds overhead are moving slowly. They are drifting towards the south. As they move, they change the shape of the moonlight on the ground. A patch of light slides across the floor of the forum. It moves over the stones, over the fountain, over the steps. It is a slow searchlight that finds nothing. Watch the patch of light move. It takes a full minute to cross the width of the Via Sacra. It climbs the wall of the Temple of Caesar. It illuminates the inscription on the stone for a brief moment, words carved in Latin that celebrate a victory long forgotten. Then the light moves on. The words fade back into the dark. The message is irrelevant. The fountain continues its work. The sound is the only constant. Burble, trickle, splash. The water never tires. It does not know it is night. It falls over the lip of the basin, breaks the surface of the pool, and settles. Near the fountain, the ground is wet. The splash has dampened the stones for a few feet in every direction. The wet stones shine black. They look like obsidian. There is a profound sense of isolation here, but it is not a scary isolation. It is a private isolation. It is just you and the stones. The crowds will come back tomorrow. The noise will come back. The arguments, the money, the rushing, it will all return. But not yet. Not for a long time. For now, the forum belongs to the silence. It belongs to the dew and the shadows. Look up at the arch of Septimius Severus. It is a massive block of triumph, 3 arches, reliefs of soldiers and captives. In the dark, the captives look like they are sleeping. The soldiers look like they are resting. The war on the stone has paused. The stone horses are not charging. They are standing still in the moonlight. The wind shifts again. It dies down completely. The air becomes perfectly still. Not a single leaf moves. The smoke from the extinguished lamp has dissipated entirely. The flame is forgotten. The stillness is so absolute it feels like the air has turned to glass. You are encased in it, preserved. Your breathing is the only movement, the rise and fall of your chest. It matches the slow, unseen rhythm of the night. Rest your eyes on the dark space between two columns. It is just a rectangle of black. It is a void. It is restful to look at nothing, to let the eyes unfocus, to let the mind empty out just like the square. The Roman Empire is asleep. The legions are asleep. The senators are asleep. The shopkeepers are asleep. The beggars are asleep. You are watching over them, or perhaps the stones are watching over you. It does not matter. Nothing matters right now. Just the stone, the dark, the cold, the quiet. The night has become a physical presence. It is no longer just the absence of light. It is a heavy, cold substance that fills the bowl of the valley. The Roman Forum is submerged. We are at the bottom of an ocean of air. The pressure is gentle, but it is there. It presses against the temples, holding them in place. It presses against the earth, quieting the dust. The clouds that were passing over the moon have thickened slightly. The light is even dimmer now. It is a diffused, milky glow that does not cast sharp shadows anymore. The world has lost its hard edges. Everything is soft. Everything is gray. The contrast between the column and the air is low. They blend into each other. Let your eyes travel to the side of the temple of Antoninus and Faustina. The columns here are made of Cipollino marble. If you could see them in the day, they would be a pale green with wavy veins, like the layers of an onion. But tonight, they are just tall, gray cylinders. They are monolithic. Focus on the texture of the stone near the base of the second column. There are grooves cut into the marble near the top, marks from the ropes used to lift these giants into place long ago. But down here, at eye level, the stone is smooth. It is cold to the touch, incredibly cold. It holds the temperature of the deep earth. If you were to press your cheek against this column, it would feel like pressing against ice. It is a clean, dry cold. It is a sensation that numbs the skin and calms the mind. The stone is indifferent to you. It does not care if you are tired. It just stands there, solid and ancient. It is a reassuring anchor in the fluid darkness. On the steps leading up to the temple, the dew has become heavier. It is no longer just a dampness. It is a glaze. The steps look like they have been varnished. A single drop of water forms on the edge of the travertine step. It hangs there, suspended by surface tension. It is a perfect sphere of water. Inside it, the gray world is reflected upside down. Watch the drop. It is heavy. It wants to fall, but it waits. The air is still. There is no wind to shake it loose. It holds and holds and holds. Finally, gravity wins. Drop. It hits the stone below. The sound is smaller than a whisper. It is a tiny, wet period at the end of a long sentence of silence. Nearby, close to the Regia, there is a patch of weeds growing near a wall. Among them is a small spider web. It is strung between two stalks of dry grass. The web is covered in dew. Thousands of microscopic droplets cling to the silk threads. In the gloom, the web looks like a necklace of gray pearls. It is a masterpiece of engineering built in the dark, waiting for a fly that will not come tonight. The spider is hidden, tucked away in a crevice of the wall. The web is motionless. It is fragile, yet it survives the night. If you were to blow on it gently, it would shudder. But there is no breath here, only the stillness. The smell of the air has shifted again. Now, alongside the smell of wet stone, there is a faint scent of the river. The Tiber is rising slightly with the tide, pushing the smell of mud and water up through the drains up into the city. It is an earthy, organic smell. It smells of soil and roots. It reminds you that underneath the marble and the bronze, this place is just a swamp that was drained. The nature is still there, waiting underneath the pavement. Walk slowly in your mind towards the house of the Vestals. The atrium is open to the sky. There are rectangular pools of water here, lined with marble. The water in the pools is black glass. It is perfectly flat. Standing around the edge of the garden are the statues of the head Vestals. They are marble women draped in heavy robes, standing on pedestals. Some of them are damaged. One has lost a hand. Another has a chipped nose. In the dark, these imperfections are hidden. They look whole. They look like a circle of silent guardians. They are watching the water. They have been watching the water for 100 years. They do not blink. They do not shift their weight. They are the definition of patience. Their stone eyes are fixed on the reflection of the clouds in the pool. A frog hidden somewhere in the reeds of a decorative garden patch makes a sound. Croak. It is a low, guttural noise. It echoes softly against the brick walls of the atrium. Croak. Then silence. The frog is not in a hurry. It waits a full minute. Croak. It is a slow conversation with the night. The rhythm of the frog is slower than your heartbeat. It pulls your pulse down. It tells your body to slow down. There is no reason to be faster than the frog. High above, the clouds part for a brief moment. A single star shines through. It is bright and piercing. It looks like a hole in the roof of the world, letting in the light from a brighter place. Then the clouds drift back. The hole closes. The gray ceiling returns. The sense of isolation is complete. You are the only conscious thing in the entire city, or at least it feels that way. And that is a relief. There are no expectations. You do not have to smile. You do not have to speak. You can just exist as a point of awareness in the dark. Let's go back to the sundial, the title of our journey. It is still there in the center of the emptiness. It is now completely useless. It measures nothing. The gnomon casts no shadow in this diffused light. The lines on the face are invisible. The sundial is taking a break. It is released from its duty. It does not have to tell anyone what time it is. Time has dissolved. There is no 3:00 a.m. There is no 4:00 a.m. There is only now. And now is very long and very quiet. Imagine running your hand over the face of the sundial. The stone is rougher than the marble columns. It is sandstone. It feels gritty. It is wet with dew. Your fingers would leave trails in the moisture, erasing the invisible hours. Near the base of the sundial on the pavement lies a small, lost object. It is a bronze buckle from a sandal. It must have fallen off someone's foot days ago. It lies there, half buried in the dust between the cracks. It is tarnished. It is not shiny. It is just a piece of metal returning to the earth. It is a small detail, a meaningless detail. But in the middle of the night, your mind can rest on it. You can wonder about the sandal, about the foot, about the walk. But you don't have to find the answer. The question is enough. The buckle is just there. The silence is so deep that you can hear the settling of the buildings. Stone expands in the heat and contracts in the cold. The forum is contracting. Somewhere, deep inside the masonry of the Basilica Julia, a stone shifts a fraction of a millimeter. Tock, a dull, dry sound. It is the sound of the building getting comfortable, adjusting its bones for the long sleep of the night. It is a sound that happens only once. Then, the silence rushes back in, healing the break instantly. The air is cold enough now that if you were to breathe out, you might see a faint wisp of white mist. Your breath would hang in the air for a moment, a small ghost of warmth, before disappearing into the gray. Breathe in. The cold air fills your lungs. It feels clean. Breathe out. The warmth leaves you, joining the night. There is a harmonious exchange between you and the environment. You are part of the stillness. Look at the Arch of Titus in the distance. It sits at the top of the slope. It is a dark silhouette against the slightly lighter sky. It looks like a gateway to nowhere. Through the arch, there is only more darkness. The road leading up to it, the Via Sacra, is steep here. The paving stones are large polygons of basalt. They fit together like a puzzle. In the dim light, the lines between the stones are dark veins. The road looks like the skin of a giant reptile sleeping along the valley floor. Nothing moves on the road. No carts, no horses, no ghosts, just the air moving slowly downhill, heavy and cold. Near the temple of Castor, the beggar we saw earlier has shifted in his sleep. He has turned over. He is now facing the wall. He pulls his gray wool cloak tighter around his shoulders. He lets out a soft sigh. He is dreaming. Perhaps he is dreaming of a warm fire. Perhaps he is dreaming of nothing. He settles back into stillness. He is safe here. The temple protects him. The shadows under the podium of the temple are the darkest places in the forum. They are pools of ink. You cannot see into them. They are voids. They are restful for the eyes. There is no visual information there. You can stop processing. You can stop thinking. The wind picks up again very slightly. It rustles the dry leaves that have gathered in the corner of the steps. Hiss, scratch. It sounds like paper rubbing together. The sound is dry and brittle. It emphasizes how wet everything else is. The contrast between the wet stone and the dry leaves is the only drama in the scene, and it is a very quiet drama. The dampness has soaked into everything. The wood of the shop doors is swollen with moisture. The ropes on the awnings are tight and heavy. The city is drinking the water from the air. It is a slow, passive nourishment. You can imagine the sensation of heavy eyelids. The struggle to keep them open is unnecessary here. There is nothing to see that you haven't already seen. The gray stone, the dark sky, the wet ground. It is a loop, A gentle visual loop. Focus on a single brick in the wall of the curia. It is a flat red brick baked in a kiln long ago. It has a chipped corner. It is rough. It is part of a wall that contains thousands of identical bricks. It is not special. It is just there, supporting the brick above it, supported by the brick below it. It has a purpose. It fulfills that purpose in silence. It does not ask for praise, it just holds. That is the nature of the forum at night. Everything is holding. The stones hold the buildings. The buildings hold the history. The night holds the silence, and you are held by all of them. There is no need to move. There is no need to think. There is no need to worry. The night is long. There are hours left before the first gray hint of dawn touches the sky. We are in the deep center of the timeline, the bottom of the curve. The atmosphere is thick like syrup. Movement feels impossible. Thoughts feel slow. Just watch the gray air. Watch the wet stone. Watch the nothingness. It is boring. It is wonderfully, perfectly boring. It is the boredom of total safety, the boredom of deep rest. The night has now stretched into the hours that have no name. It is long past midnight, but still far from dawn. This is the dead center of the darkness. The city of Rome is a vast, silent dormitory. The forum is its empty living room, tidied away and left to the shadows. The clouds overhead have thinned out again, just a little. The moon is struggling to push its light through the veil. It creates a ghostly, translucent light that washes over the pavement. It is a light that reveals nothing but shapes and outlines. Let your gaze drift to the base of the rostra, the great speaking platform. At the foot of the wall, where the marble meets the earth, there is movement. It is the slowest movement possible. A small garden snail is making a journey across a slab of wet travertine. Focus on the snail. Its shell is a spiral of brown and beige, but in this light it looks simply gray. It moves by extending its soft, damp body forward, anchoring itself, and then pulling the shell behind. Stretch, grip, pull. It is a motion of infinite patience. Behind it on the dark stone it leaves a trail, a silver ribbon of slime that glistens faintly in the weak moonlight. The trail is a map of its progress. It has traveled perhaps 6 inches in the last hour. It is in no hurry. It does not know that it is crossing the center of the Roman Empire. To the snail, this is just a cold, wet mountain of stone. Watch the snail's antennae. They extend fully, sensing the damp air. They retract slightly when they touch a grain of sand. Then they extend again. It is a tactile exploration of the world. It is a quiet, microscopic struggle. It is hypnotic to watch. It demands nothing from you. You can just watch the slow, rhythmic pulse of its body. A few yards away, at the altar of the temple of Julius Caesar, someone has left a small offering earlier in the day. A bunch of wildflowers tied with a piece of grass. Now in the deep night the flowers are wilted. Their heads are bowed. The petals have curled inward. They are lying on the cold stone of the altar. The dew has settled on them. They look heavy and tired. The color has drained out of them in the dark. They are just dark clumps of organic matter, slowly returning to the earth. There is a specific smell here. It is the smell of wet, decaying stems mixed with the cold mineral scent of the stone. It is a melancholy smell, but peaceful. It is the smell of things that have served their purpose and are now resting. The flowers do not need to be beautiful anymore. They can just be. The air in the forum is now saturated with moisture. It feels thick, almost like a very thin fog is beginning to form near the ground. It swirls around your ankles. It softens the hard lines of the pavement. If you were to walk through it, you would feel the dampness clinging to your clothes. It is a cooling sensation. It seeps through the wool, touching the skin with a gentle, cold finger. It makes you want to pull your blanket tighter. It makes the idea of a warm bed feel like the most important thing in the world. Look at the columns of the Temple of Castor again. At this angle, they block out a section of the sky. They are pitch black against the dark gray clouds. They look like bars of a cage or the legs of a giant beast standing still in the night. At the very top of one column, a small plant has taken root in the capital amidst the carved acanthus leaves. It is a weed carried there by the wind years ago. It hangs down over the edge of the stone. Tonight it swings very gently in the air currents. Sway, back, sway, back. It is a silent pendulum. It marks the time without counting it. The movement is so slight that you have to stare to see it, and staring is tiring. Your eyes want to close. The rhythm of the weed is a lullaby for the eyes. The silence is broken by a sound from the Basilica Emilia. It is the sound of a settling beam, creak, a long, low groan of timber. It sounds like the building is stretching in its sleep. The wood is old. It has seen centuries of nights like this. It groans, adjusts, and settles back into silence. The sound does not startle you. It fits into the landscape. It is just the house breathing. Near the entrance to the Senate House, there is a bronze statue of a politician. He is wearing a toga. His arm is raised in a gesture of speech. But tonight, his speech is directed at the empty square. His mouth is open, but no sound comes out. The dew has collected on his bronze face. A drop of water hangs from his nose. Another drop hangs from his finger. The great orator is wet and cold. He looks lonely, but he is made of metal. He does not feel the cold. He is enduring the night with stoic indifference. The ground beneath your feet, or the ground you are imagining, is solid. It is the most stable thing in the universe. The layers of stone, the packed earth, the bedrock deep below, it is not moving. It is there to hold you up. You can let go of your own weight. The earth will take it. Imagine lying down on one of the broad benches inside the portico. The wood is hard but smooth. You wrap your cloak around you. You look up at the ceiling. It is dark up there. You can't see the beams. You are sheltered. The roof keeps the dew off you. You are in a dry pocket of air in a wet world. Outside, the puddle we watched earlier has grown. The dew has fed it. It is now spilling over into the crack between the stones. The water moves silently, finding the path of least resistance. It flows down into the dark earth. It is disappearing. The light from the sky shifts again as the clouds thicken. The gray turns to a darker charcoal. The world is dimming. It is like a lamp being turned down, lower and lower. The visual details are fading. The snail is just a bump on the stone. The flowers are just a shadow on the altar. The statue is just a silhouette. Your mind does not need to process these shapes anymore. They are becoming abstract. They are just blobs of darkness in a sea of gray. It is easier to stop trying to figure out what they are. Just let them be shapes. The atmosphere is heavy with sleep. It presses against your temples. It slows your thoughts. If you were thinking about the markets or the legions or the emperor, those thoughts are gone now. They have been pushed out by the fog and the cold. There is only the sensation of presence, being here, being still. Far away on the slopes of the Palatine Hill, a night bird calls. It is a single mournful note. Hoo, it waits. Hoo, it is not a call of alarm, it is a call of territory. I am here, it says. The night is mine. The sound floats down into the valley of the Forum. It echoes faintly and dies away. It leaves the silence deeper than before. The temperature has reached its lowest point. The stones have given up all their heat. They are as cold as the air. The equilibrium is perfect. There is no transfer of energy anymore. Everything is equal. Everything is still. Focus on the texture of the air itself. It is not empty space. It feels thick like water. Moving your arm through it would feel slow. Breathing it in feels like drinking from a cold stream. It cools the chest. It slows the heart. The Roman Forum is a capsule of time. In the day, it rushes forward. In the night, it stands still. We are standing still with it. There is a piece of fabric, perhaps a rag dropped by a cleaner, lying near the base of a column. It is soaked through. It lies flat against the stone, heavy and dark. It is shaped like a small heap. It is not interesting. It is ugly even. But in this light, it is just another part of the quiet landscape. It does not demand attention. The shadows are now so deep that they feel like holes in reality. If you look into the doorway of the Temple of Saturn, you see nothing. It is a black square. It is the color of sleep without dreams. It draws the eye in and gives nothing back. This is the ultimate boredom, the boredom of a world that has stopped working, a world that has turned off its engine. There is no productivity here, no ambition, no progress. There is only the slow slide of the snail, the slow drip of the dew, the slow fade of the moon. You are safe in this slowness. You are protected by the boredom. It is a shield against the busy world. Let your attention dissolve. Let the image of the Forum become blurry. The columns are melting into the dark. The ground is rising up to meet the sky. Everything is one shade of gray. Everything is quiet. Everything is heavy. And in this heaviness, there is a deep, abiding peace. The peace of a stone that will not move for 1,000 years. The air in the valley of the Forum has changed again. The moisture that was clinging to the stones has now transformed. It has lifted off the ground, turning into a low, white mist. It is a thin fog, drifting in from the marshy lowlands near the river. It creeps along the pavement, swirling around the bases of the monuments. The mist does not rise high. It stays low like a carpet of vapor. It covers the feet of the columns. It covers the bottom steps of the temples. It makes the buildings look as if they are floating on a cloud. The solid connection to the earth is hidden. The Forum has become a dreamscape detached from reality. Watch the mist move. It is sluggish. It rolls over the paving stones of the Via Sacra in slow motion. It encounters a stone block, flows around it, and rejoins on the other side. It is silent water made of air. It fills the hollows and the dips in the road. It erases the floor of the world. Near the arch of Septimius Severus, a guard is sitting on a small wooden stool. He is taking a break. He is not patrolling. He is wrapped tightly in a thick red wool cloak that has turned dark maroon in the night. He is leaning back against the cold stone of the arch. His eyes are half closed. He is watching the mist. He is not looking for enemies. He is just watching the white vapor curl around the toes of his boots. He is perfectly still. His spear rests against the wall beside him. The iron tip of the spear is dull and gray. It captures no light. The guard lets out a long breath. You can see his breath tonight. It mixes with the fog, a puff of white that expands and vanishes. Haya, it is a sigh of boredom, a sigh of fatigue. He shifts his weight slightly on the stool. The wood creaks, creak. The sound is muffled by the heavy air. Then he is still again. He is just another statue waiting for the sun. In the center of the square stands a massive equestrian statue. It is a bronze horse and rider, celebrating an emperor whose name is worn away. The horse has one front leg raised, frozen in a permanent trot. The muscles of the horse's neck are tensed. Its mouth is open, pulling against the bit. But there is no movement. The energy of the sculpture is trapped in cold metal. The mist swirls around the horse's hooves. It looks like the horse is galloping through clouds, but it never moves forward. It stays exactly where it is. The bronze is wet. Rivulets of dew run down the horse's flank. They drip from the rider's sandal. The statue is weeping with the dampness of the night. It is a lonely figure, commanding an army of ghosts in an empty square. The silence is now wrapped in cotton. The fog dampens every sound. If a dog were to bark now, it would sound miles away. The acoustic space has shrunk. You are in a small bubble of quiet. Focus on the texture of the mist itself. It is not uniform. It has strands and wisps. It is thinner in some places, thicker in others. It pulses gently with the air currents. It is a living, breathing blanket that tucks the city in. The temperature is at its coldest point. It is a damp, penetrating chill. It is the kind of cold that seeps into the bones of the city. The stones are numb. The wood is numb. Even the air feels numb. If you were standing there, you would feel the tiny droplets of mist settling on your face. Cool, refreshing, and calming. It is like a very soft, cold cloth being pressed against your forehead. It washes away the heat of thoughts. Near the temple of Vesta, the smoke from the sacred fire is struggling to rise. The air is so heavy that the smoke stays low, mixing with the fog. It spreads out horizontally, a layer of gray above the layer of white. The smell of the wood smoke is stronger here. It is a sharp, comforting scent. It smells of home. It smells of warmth in a cold world. But the warmth is inside. Outside, there is only the gray. Let's look at the wall of the Regia. It is an ancient building made of blocks of tufa stone. The surface is rough and porous. The mist clings to the rough texture. The stone looks soft like a sponge. A small insect, a moth perhaps, flutters blindly through the fog. It is a chaotic gray speck. It bumps into the wall. Tap. It flutters away. It bumps into a column. Tap. It is lost in the white haze. It is tired. It lands on the stone and stops moving. Its wings fold up. It becomes part of the wall. The passage of time feels sticky here. The minutes are stuck together. There is no distinct before or after. There is only this long, gray duration. The night is not ending. It feels like it might last forever. And that is a comforting thought, to stay in this cocoon of mist and silence, to not have to face the bright, noisy day. The guard near the arch closes his eyes completely for a moment. His head nods forward. Chin down, he jerks it back up. He blinks. He is fighting the sleep, but the sleep is winning. The sleep is the stronger force. It is pulling him down, heavy and sweet. He settles back against the stone. He decides to rest his eyes for just a moment, just a moment. His breathing deepens. It becomes slow and rhythmic. In, out, in, out. He joins the rhythm of the sleeping city. The fog is getting thicker. It is rising higher. It now covers the knees of the statues. It covers the podium of the rostra. The ground is gone. The city is floating. There is a sense of weightlessness. Without the ground visible, the heaviness of the stone seems to vanish. The columns are suspended in the air. The roofs are hovering. The laws of gravity seem to be suspended in the mist. Listen to the silence. It is a white silence now, a muffled, soft silence. It is the sound of snow falling, though it is not snowing. It is the sound of the air stopping. There is nothing to do. The guard is asleep. The horse is frozen. The moth is resting. You are the only one watching, and your watching is soft. Your gaze is unfocused. You are looking at everything and nothing at the same time. A drop of water falls from the eave of a temple roof into a puddle below. Plop. The sound is different now. It is duller. The fog eats the sharp edge of the noise. It sounds like a finger tapping on a pillow. The ripples in the puddle move out, but you cannot see them clearly through the mist. You only know they are there. The water is disturbing the water. Then it calms down again. The darkness is not black anymore. It is a milky, opaque gray. It is a wall of fog. It is close to your face. It limits your world to the few feet in front of you. That is enough. You don't need to see the horizon. The horizon is too far away. You only need to see the mist. Breathe in the damp air. Taste the water in it. It hydrates the throat. It is cool and clean. It tastes of the river and the night. The stillness is profound. It is not just a lack of movement. It is a presence of peace. The city has stopped struggling. It has surrendered to the night. It has let go of its ambition. The bronze of the horse statue is dark and slick. It looks like oil. The mist swirls around the horse's open mouth. It looks like the horse is breathing out the fog, a giant, silent breath from a metal beast. Everything is slow. The mist drifts, the guard sleeps, the water drips. There is no urgency. There is no deadline. The calendar has been thrown away. You are safe in the fog. You are hidden. No one can see you. You can close your eyes and disappear into the gray. The sensation of the night is a heavy blanket on the shoulders, a gentle pressure on the eyelids, a slowing of the pulse. The forum waits, the mist waits, the stone waits. It is a long, slow wait. and it is perfect. The night has entered its final, deepest chamber. We are now in the hour before the dawn, though there is no sign of the sun yet. The sky is a heavy, impenetrable lid over the city. The mist that rose earlier has settled down closer to the ground, becoming a dense, knee-high ocean of white vapor. The silence has changed quality again. It is no longer the silence of sleep. It is the silence of anticipation. The city is holding its breath, waiting for the cycle to restart. But the restart is still far off. For now, there is only the cold and the damp. Drift your attention to the edge of the Forum, where the great drain, the Cloaca Maxima, runs beneath the street. There is an iron grate here, set into the stone. It is old iron, rusted and dark. Through the bars of the grate, you can hear the faint, echoing sound of running water deep underground. Rush, gurgle, rush. It is the sound of the city's veins. The water flows constantly, carrying the waste of the empire out to the river. It is a hidden river, a secret stream flowing in the dark. The sound is low and rhythmic. It is a white noise that comes from below the earth. It is surprisingly soothing. It reminds you that the infrastructure of the city never sleeps, even when the people do. Near the grate, a small, dark shape moves. It is a rat. It is not a frightening creature. In this light, it is just a small, furry mechanic of the night. It scuttles out from a shadow. It stops. It stands on its hind legs, sniffing the damp air. Its whiskers twitch, twitch, twitch. It is looking for crumbs. It finds a small piece of crust dropped near a column. It picks it up. It turns around. It scuttles back into the shadow. The movement is efficient and silent. The rat is gone. The street is empty again. The scene returns to stillness. Now lift your nose to the air. Amidst the smell of wet stone and river fog, there is a new scent. It is very faint. You have to concentrate to find it. It is the smell of yeast, the smell of warm dough. Far away in the narrow streets of the Subura, the bakeries are waking up. The fires are being lit in the ovens. The bread is being prepared for the morning. The smell drifts across the sleeping city, carried by a slow draft. It is a warm, domestic smell. It contrasts with the cold stone of the Forum. It suggests that somewhere there is warmth. Somewhere there is life. But not here. Here, it is just a ghost of a smell. The temperature has dropped to its absolute limit. The stones are freezing. If you touched the railing of the curia now, your hand would stick to the cold metal. The cold is a preservative. It keeps the night frozen in place. Look at the temple of Vespasian. 3 columns stand at an angle. The entablature on top is heavy with carving. The frieze depicts sacrificial instruments, a knife, an axe, a sprinkler. In the mist, these carved objects look soft. The sharp edges of the stone axe are blunted by the fog. The violence of the sacrifice is erased by the weather. A drop of water collects on the stone nose of a carved ox skull. It hangs there. It shines faintly in the gloom. It falls, drip. It lands in the mist below. You don't hear it hit the ground. The mist swallows the sound completely. The guard we watched earlier is still asleep on his stool. He has not moved. His chin is resting on his chest. His breathing is a slow, steady rasp. HRRR, SHHH, HRRR, SHHH. He is deep in a dream. Perhaps he is dreaming of his village in the countryside. Perhaps he is dreaming of nothing. The spear is slipping slightly in his grip, leaning more against his shoulder. He is completely off duty in his mind. The fog shifts slightly. A draft pushes it from the west. The white sea rolls over the paving stones. It covers the base of the sundial. The sundial is now just a stone fin sticking out of the clouds. It looks like a shark fin in a white sea. It is still waiting. It has waited all night. It has nowhere else to go. There is a sense of heaviness in the limbs. The gravity feels stronger now. The earth is pulling everything down. The buildings look heavier. The roof of the Basilica Julia looks like it weighs the whole world. It presses down on the columns. The columns press down on the floor. It is a stack of heavy things resting. In the distance, towards the Capitoline Hill, a shutter bangs. Bang! It is a loose piece of wood on a high window. The wind caught it. Then silence. The echo dies instantly. The sound was an intruder. The silence is the owner. The light is beginning to change, but it is not brightening yet. It is just becoming less dark. The pitch black is turning into a deep, deep charcoal. The contrast is lowering even more. The world is becoming a monochrome painting. Imagine the texture of the toga worn by a statue near the Senate. It is carved marble, but it looks like fabric. The folds are deep and shadowed. In the hollows of the folds, the darkness is absolute. The dust has collected there. The dew has collected there. It is a landscape of miniature valleys and hills on the statue's body. A small bird, a sparrow, wakes up in the eaves of the temple. It fluffs its feathers. It makes a tiny sound, cheep. It is a sleepy sound. It is not ready to sing. It tucks its head back in. It goes back to sleep. It is too early. The sun is not here. The peace of this moment is profound. It is the peace of the empty stage. The actors are gone. The audience is gone. The script is put away. There is only the set design. You can look at the fluting on a column for a long time. The vertical lines go up and up. They guide the eye towards the nothingness of the sky. Up and down, up and down. It is a simple pattern. It is repetitive. It is boring. There is a loose paving stone on the Via Sacra. It sits slightly higher than the others. A small pool of water has formed around it like a moat. The water is perfectly still. It is waiting for a footstep that will not come. The air feels thick in the throat. It is dense air. Breathing it is slow work. Inhale, count to 3, exhale, count to 3. The air enters cold and leaves warm. You are the only source of heat in the square. Let your mind wander to the back of the shops. There are locks on the doors, heavy iron padlocks. They are intricate mechanisms. Inside, the tumblers are aligned. The bolt is thrown. The door is secure. The security is passive. The lock does the work by simply being locked. It does not need to move. The feeling of safety is absolute. The legions are guarding the borders of the empire, hundreds of miles away. You are in the center, protected by layers of stone and history and silence. Nothing can hurt you here. The only thing that happens here is the passing of time. And time passes very slowly. The mist is thinning in one spot, revealing the wet pavement. The stones shine like the back of a black beetle. They are slick. They reflect the faint gray of the sky. A spider, disturbed by the dampness, lowers itself on a single thread from the architrave of the basilica. It descends slowly. It spins slightly as it goes down. It is a tiny acrobat in the void. It reaches the ground. It scurries away into a crack. It is gone. The world is made of small, hidden lives. The spider, the rat, the bird. They are awake while the masters of the world sleep. They own the forum right now. The dampness has seeped into the wood of the guard's spear shaft. It is dark with moisture. It would feel slippery to hold. The wood has expanded. The metal head is tight on the shaft. There is no color in this world. The red of the brick is gray. The gold of the gilding is gray. The green of the weed is gray. The night has stolen the color and hidden it away until morning. It is restful for the eyes. No bright colors to trigger the brain, just gray. The hours are stacking up. 1 hour piles onto another. The night is a tall tower of time. We are at the base of it. Listen to the water in the drain again. Rush, rush. It is constant. It does not speed up. It does not slow down. It is the heartbeat of the underground. The fog begins to drift again. It covers the wet stones. It covers the drain. It hides the rat's path. It smooths everything over. It is the great eraser. You are floating in the gray. You are heavy. You are still. The dawn is a promise, but it is not a threat. It will come slowly, very slowly. For now there is only the mist, and the cold, and the stone. The black dome of the night is finally beginning to crack. It is not yet day. The sun is still far below the horizon, hidden behind the Sabine hills. But the quality of the darkness has changed. It has shifted from the heavy, impenetrable ink of midnight to a deep, cold indigo. This is the blue hour, the time when the world loses its color and exists only in shades of navy and slate. The stars are disappearing. They are not moving away, they are simply being washed out by the subtle increase in atmospheric light. Look up at the space above the temple of Saturn. 10 minutes ago, there was a constellation there. Now there are only 2 faint points of light remaining. They flicker weakly. Then one blinks out. A minute later, the second one vanishes. The sky is clearing itself, preparing a blank canvas for the morning. The mist that covered the floor of the forum has thinned. It has not gone away, but it has become translucent. You can see the shapes of the paving stones again. They are dark and wet. They reflect the indigo sky. The ground looks like a deep, still ocean. Near the arch, the guard we watched sleeping has stirred. He does not jump up. He wakes slowly. First, his head lifts. He blinks his eyes, gummy with sleep. He looks left. He looks right. He sees nothing but the quiet square. He lets out a low groan. Ugh! It is the sound of stiff muscles protesting against the cold. He stands up. His joints pop, crack. He stretches his arms overhead, the red wool cloak bunching around his shoulders. He rubs his face with a rough, cold hand. He picks up his spear. He leans on it. He is awake, but only just. He is not ready to be a soldier yet. He is just a man standing in the cold, waiting for his shift to end. Listen carefully. The silence is no longer absolute. There is a new sound in the air. It is the sound of birds. Not a full chorus, that is for the sunrise. This is the pre-dawn murmuring. High up in the cornices of the Basilica Julia, a pigeon wakes up. It shifts its weight on the terracotta tile. It makes a soft, throaty sound. Coo, ar, coo. It is a low, vibrating sound. It is comfortable. It echoes slightly in the empty portico. Then silence again. Then from the other side of the square another bird answers, cheap, a sharp, small note. They are checking in with each other. Is it time? Not yet. Go back to sleep. The air is at its crispest right now. The dew has turned into a light frost on the grass that grows between the stones. If you looked closely at a blade of grass near the rostra, you would see tiny crystals of ice forming on the edge. They are delicate, jagged structures. They will melt the moment the sun touches them. But for now, they are permanent. They are tiny jewels in the gray light. Let your eyes rest on the sundial again. It is becoming more defined. The edges of the stone are sharpening. You can see the curve of the bowl. You can see the straight line of the gnomon, but there is still no shadow. The light is coming from everywhere and nowhere. It is a shadowless world. The sundial looks patient. It knows its time is coming. The sun will rise, the shadow will fall, and the work will begin. But not yet. Now is the time for stillness. Far in the distance, towards the river gate, there is a sound of wood on stone. Rumble clack, rumble clack. It is louder than the cart we heard earlier. It is a wagon leaving the city. The night deliveries are finishing. The empty carts are heading out to the countryside. The sound grows slightly louder, then fades away. It passes the perimeter of the forum but does not enter. It is a reminder that the city is a machine that is slowly turning its gears. The heavy wheel of commerce is starting to rotate. But here in the sacred center, nothing moves. Focus on the columns of the temple of Castor and Pollux. In this blue light, the white marble looks like ice. It glows with a faint, ghostly luminescence. The columns look taller than they did in the dark. They stretch up into the blue gloom, supporting the heavy architrave. At the base of the columns, the beggar is still asleep. He has not moved. He is a mound of gray wool. A stray dog trots past him. The dog does not stop. It has a destination. It walks with a purposeful trot, its nails clicking on the stone. Click, 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 click. It disappears around the corner of the temple. The beggar sleeps on. The smell of the air is changing. The heavy dampness is lifting slightly. There is a faint scent of pine and cypress coming from the Palatine Hill. The trees up there are releasing their scent into the cool morning air. It is a fresh, sharp smell. It clears the head. Imagine taking a deep breath. The air fills your chest. It is cold, but it is energizing. It wakes up the senses gently. On the steps of the Curia, a small beetle is struggling to climb over a pebble. It pushes. It slips back. It pushes again. It gets one leg over, then another. It pulls itself up. It pauses on top of the pebble, waving its antennae. It has conquered its mountain. It moves on. The struggle of the beetle is the biggest event in the forum right now. The light is brightening very, very slowly. It is not a sudden switch. It is a gradual dilution of the dark. The indigo turns to steel blue. The steel blue turns to gray. You can now see the color of the brickwork on the shops. It is a dull, muted red. Yesterday, in the sun, it was bright orange. Now it is the color of dried blood. The wood of the doors is dark brown. The world is regaining its palette, one muted tone at a time. The guard shifts his weight again. He stamps his feet to warm them up. Thump, thump. The sound is dull and heavy. He blows into his cupped hands. His breath forms a cloud that hangs in the air for a long time before dissipating. He looks towards the east. He is looking for the light. He is looking for the end of his watch. But the eastern sky is still thick with clouds. There will be no dramatic sunrise today, just a slow brightening of the gray. There is a loose piece of parchment blowing across the ground near the Senate House. It scrapes along the stones, scritch, scratch. It catches on a step. It flutters there, pinned by the wind. It is a discarded note, perhaps a shopping list or a practice alphabet. It is trash, but in this light it looks like a white flag of surrender. The wind is picking up slightly. It is the morning breeze. It is not the damp draft of the night. It is a drier, faster wind. It ruffles the feathers of the pigeons. It stirs the dust. It tells the city to wake up. But the city hits the snooze button. It stays quiet for a little longer. Look at the fountain again. The water is clearer now. You can see the bottom of the basin. There are coins there. Bronze and copper coins thrown by people making wishes. In the blue light, the coins look dark. They are resting on the mossy bottom. The wishes are sleeping. The water falling from the spout catches the weak light. It looks like a stream of liquid glass. The sound is the same, splash, 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 but it feels brighter now. It sounds like morning water. The shadows are beginning to form, but they are very soft. They are not cast by the sun, but by the ambient light of the sky. The columns cast faint, blurry shadows that point towards the west. The definition is returning to the world. You can see the cracks in the pavement now. You can see the weeds clearly. The mystery of the night is evaporating. The reality of the day is arriving. But it is a boring reality. It is just stone and dirt and old buildings. There is no magic, just presence. The guard leans his spear against the wall and adjusts his belt. The leather creaks, creak. He tightens it one notch. He is preparing himself. He smooths his tunic. He is getting ready to be seen. A second guard appears from the shadows of the arch. They do not speak. They just nod to each other, a silent acknowledgement of the long night. They stand together looking at the empty square, two statues in red cloaks. The sky is now a lighter gray. The stars are completely gone. The moon has faded into a pale, white smudge that is barely visible. The ceiling of the world has lifted. The forum feels bigger again. A cart enters the far end of the square. This one is coming in. It is a water wagon carrying barrels from the aqueduct distribution point. The horse walks slowly, head down. The driver is slumped over the reins. The wheels rumble heavily. Rumble, creak, rumble. It moves down the Via Sacra. It passes the temple of Julius Caesar. It passes the basilica. It does not stop. It is just passing through. The noise is a steady drone that grows louder and then softer. It is a soothing, repetitive rhythm. As the cart fades away, the silence rushes back, but it is thinner now. It is fragile. It is ready to break. The sundial is waiting. The stone face is cold and gray. The gnomon stands tall. It is ready to catch the first true ray of the sun. It is the most patient object in the world. Imagine touching the stone of the sundial now. It would still be cold, but not as freezing as before. The air is warming up by a fraction of a degree. The deep freeze is over. You can feel the anticipation in the air. The shops will open soon. The doors will be unbarred. The shutters will be thrown back. The noise will start. But not yet. For now, hold on to this last moment of quiet, this blue-gray silent moment. The birds are chirping a little more often now. Cheep, twitter, coo. The wind is blowing a little harder. Whoosh. The light is getting a little stronger. But the peace is still here. The boredom is still here. It is a gentle, gray boredom. The boredom of a waiting room. The boredom of a long exhale before the next inhale. Rest your eyes on the dull bronze of the temple doors. They are solid. They are closed. They are peaceful. Everything is exactly where it should be. The empire is safe. The day is coming, but you can still rest. The gray of the dawn is finally surrendering. The sky above the Capitoline Hill is transforming. It is no longer the cold, steel blue of the early morning. It is turning a pale, soft yellow, blending into a delicate apricot near the horizon. The sun has not yet broken the line of the buildings, but its presence is announced. The air feels different. It is no longer heavy and wet. It feels lighter, thinner, ready to accept the day. High above the forum, on the roof of the Temple of Jupiter, the first direct ray of sunlight strikes. It hits the gold-leaf tiles on the roof. Suddenly, the dull gray shapes ignite. They flash with a brilliant, warm amber light. It is a silent explosion of color. The gold shines against the pale sky. It is the only bright thing in the world. Down in the valley, in the square where we stand, it is still shadow, but the shadow is not dark anymore. It is a soft, transparent violet. The details of the forum are now perfectly clear. You can see the grain in the marble. You can see the individual pebbles in the road. You can see the texture of the moss in the cracks. The mystery is gone. The reality of the stone remains. Listen, there is a new sound. It is a rhythmic scratching sound. Swish, swish, swish. Near the Basilica Emilia, a man has appeared. He is wearing a simple, rough tunic. He holds a broom made of bundled twigs. He is sweeping the steps of the portico. He is not in a hurry. He steps forward, sweeps the dust to the left. Steps forward, sweeps again. Watch the dust. It rises in small, gray puffs with every stroke of the broom. It hangs in the air for a second, then settles back down a few feet away. The man is not trying to clean the whole city. He is just cleaning this one step. Swish, pause, swish. It is a satisfying domestic sound. It says that order is being restored. A shopkeeper arrives at the wooden booth near the corner. He carries a ring of large iron keys. They jingle softly at his belt. Ching ching. He stops in front of his shop. He selects a key. He inserts it into the iron padlock. He twists it. There is a heavy clack as the mechanism releases. He removes the lock. He lifts the heavy wooden bar that secures the shutters. He leans it against the wall. Then he pushes the shutters open. Creak, bang. The sound echoes across the square. It is the official sound of the morning. The shop is open. Inside, it is still dark. He disappears into the gloom of his store. He strikes a flint. A moment later, a small lamp glows inside. He is preparing for business. He places a jar of olives on the counter. He places a stack of bowls next to it. He wipes the counter with a cloth. He is ready. But there are no customers yet. He leans on the counter and looks out at the empty street. He waits. The light is creeping down the side of the temples now. It is like a curtain of gold being lowered slowly. It touches the tops of the columns, then the capitals, then the shafts. The stone changes color as the light hits it. It turns from cold blue-white to a warm, creamy honey color. The sun is warming the stone. The chill in the air begins to dissolve. You can feel the very first hint of warmth on your face. It is faint, but it is there. It touches the cheek like a gentle hand. The dew on the railing of the rostra begins to sparkle. As the light hits the water droplets, they turn into tiny prisms. For a few minutes, the forum is covered in diamonds. Then they begin to evaporate. The dampness is retreating. The birds are now fully awake. The pigeons are cooing loudly. They fly down from the roofs in a flock. The sound of their wings is a soft, rushing flutter. Flap, 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 flap. They land on the pavement of the Via Sacra. They walk around, bobbing their heads, pecking at the invisible seeds in the cracks. They own the square now. The beggar at the Temple of Castor wakes up. He sits up slowly. He stretches his arms. He yawns. He arranges his cloak around him. He does not get up. He stays seated on the step. He turns his face towards the sun that is creeping down the column. He closes his eyes and soaks in the warmth. He is content. He has survived the night. The sun belongs to him as much as it belongs to the emperor. Now look at the sundial. The moment we have been waiting for is here. The sun has cleared the roof of the basilica. A beam of pure, unfiltered sunlight shoots across the open plaza. It hits the sundial. Instantly, a shadow is born. Behind the bronze gnomon, a sharp, dark line appears on the curved stone face. It is crisp. It is defined. It falls exactly on the first line of the day. The hora prima, the first hour. The sundial is working again. The machine of time has restarted. The long, shadowless night is over. The measurement has begun. Watch the shadow. It is long, stretching out towards the edge of the bowl. It is still. You cannot see it move, but you know it is moving. It is anchoring the city to the movement of the cosmos. The sun continues to rise. The light floods the square. It chases the last of the blue shadows into the corners. The puddles on the ground reflect the bright blue sky. The world is in color again. The red bricks are vibrant. The bronze statues gleam gold. The white marble is blindingly bright. More people are entering the forum now. A group of men in togas walk slowly, talking in low voices. A woman carrying a basket of bread walks past. A slave carrying a bundle of wood hurries along. The silence is breaking. It is being replaced by the hum of life. But it is a gentle hum. It is not noisy yet. It is just the background murmur of a day beginning. The sweeper has finished the steps. He gathers the dust into a small pile. He scoops it up. He disappears around the corner. His job is done. The shopkeeper stands in the sun, peeling an orange. He throws the peel onto the street. The scent of citrus drifts in the air for a moment, mixing with the smell of the drying stone. The guard who watched the night is gone. His shift is over. He has been replaced by a fresh guard who stands stiffly, squinting into the sun. The cycle continues. One guard leaves, another arrives. One day ends, another begins. The forum is fully awake. The shadow on the sundial has moved a fraction of an inch. It is inching towards the second hour. The day will bring noise, business, politics, heat, and dust. But you do not have to be part of it. You have watched the night pass. You have seen the stone cool down and warm up again. You have seen the stars fade. You have seen the shadow return. Your watch is over. The sundial can take over from here. It will count the hours for you. You don't need to count them anymore. The light is warm, the air is gentle. The sound of the fountain is still there, underneath the new sounds of the day. Splash, splash, splash. It is the constant thread that ties the night to the day. Let the image of the sunlit forum fade. Let the bright white columns soften. Let the sound of the birds and the footsteps drift away into the distance. You are leaving the city now. You are floating back into the quiet. The Roman Empire will go on without you. The sun will move across the sky. The shadow will lengthen and shorten. The stones will bake in the heat. But you are safe in the memory of the night. You are safe in the silence that we found together. The shadow is cast. The time is marked. The story is done. Close your eyes. The stone is warm. The work is finished. Sleep.